Good morning. My name is Amaya Pawar. I'm the Alderman of the 47th Ward. Here joining me here today are some of my colleagues and members of the Working Families Task Force. We're here today because it was our hope that after introducing the Earned Sick Time Ordinance last month, that there would have been a vote today in City Council. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And so we're standing before you today to make sure that we keep this issue front and center so that we can, so that there is a vote in June of this year. I spent the better part of last year, along with my co-chair, Ann Ladke, chairing the Working Families Task Force, developing a set of recommendations around earned sick time, paid family leave, and fair scheduling practices. After spending a better part of last year working on this report and developing recommendations, we did this by stitching together a broad coalition of business, labor, elected officials, and advocacy groups. These recommendations are a reflection of a broad spectrum of voices. They're not unilateral on any one side. They are a result of a lot of compromise. That compromise resulted in an ordinance that we introduced last month. And here we are in May, and a vote has not yet been scheduled. I just want to make clear that before I turn it over to the lead sponsors, that there are a lot of moving parts right now in terms of legislative priorities. There's CPS inequity, CPS funding inequity. There are criminal justice reforms that are going to be introduced next month to address institutional issues within the police department. This ordinance is equally as important because they are all connected, whether it's inequities in CPS funding, whether it's addressing institutional racism, or whether it's addressing earned sick time. All of these issues are connected. There are issues that will make for more resilient communities if we address them in the right order and in the proper order. So I'm here today to say that while we're going to start chipping away at CPS, we're going to start making sure that we're addressing institutional issues, but earned sick time is an issue that will touch 460,000 workers once we pass it. So frankly, I'm tired of having to stand here with my colleagues, with the advocates, asking for scraps, for basic human decency, so that people can call in sick when they are sick to work and not worry about losing their job, so that they can call in sick when their child is sick. We're not talking about enriching anyone. We're talking about basic human rights and just a standard for decency. So with that, I want to turn it over to one of the workers who would be dramatically impacted should we pass this legislation next month. Her name is Manuela Sepulveda, and she's an Arise Chicago board member. And I'm going to turn it over to her, and I think she has a pretty compelling story to tell you. Manuela?
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Manuela Sepúlveda. Soy miembro de Arise y una representante de los trabajadores de aquí del estado de Illinois.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Manuela Sepulveda. I'm here as a member of Arise and as a representative of all the workers here in the state of Illinois.
Estoy aquí para proponer al Ayuntamiento de Chicago para que apoye al 82% de los votantes para el pago de días de enfermedad.
I'm here to ask the Chicago City Council to stand with 82% of all voters in Chicago that said they supported paid sick days.
Ya que hay una gran diferencia entre tener una unión que te protege y te respalda cuando estás enfermo y el no tener a alguien que vea por ti en estas situaciones.
There is a big difference between having someone look out for you at work, having a union, having paid sick days at work, and not having them.
Desgraciadamente, yo pasé por este caso en mi último trabajo. Yo pude ver la gran diferencia, ya que es horrible estar en un lugar donde te sientes humillado, sobre todo cuando te sientes enfermo, que no puedes estar en casa para cuidar tu cuerpo, y estar en un trabajo enfermo es de lo peor, no se lo deseo a nadie.
I went through this, unfortunately, at my last job. I know what it's like to go through a job that you feel humiliated and you feel embarrassed to have to ask for a day off because you don't have those rights and they're not given to you. You have to decide between having to go to work in or having to go in sick.
Si yo trato de pedir un día de enfermedad, lo puedo hacer, pero con una condición de una carta médica. Aún llevando esta carta médica, yo voy a obtener puntos de mi contractor, ¿verdad? Y a ciertos puntos yo puedo llegar a ser despedida.
Whenever I want to have a day off, I have to bring in a doctor's note, and not every doctor's note is a valid one. And even if I get the day off, I accumulate points, and after so many points, I can be disciplined or I can even be let go and fired.
A veces, voy a decir esta palabra y suena mal, pero es ridículo que tu empleador te diga, tienes que avisar cuando te vas a enfermar. ¿Cómo yo voy a saber cuándo yo me voy a enfermar?
It's absolutely ridiculous that my employer asks me to plan out my paid sick days. How am I supposed to plan when I'm going to get sick? That's ridiculous.
Por eso es que ahora estoy aquí abogando para que esta propuesta se lleve a cabo y pues piensen un poco en nosotros los trabajadores y nos ayuden a obtener este beneficio que es muy importante para nosotros.
That's why I'm here advocating for all workers to receive paid sick days, which is why I'm here asking for this special ordinance to be passed.
Sí, sobre todo las compañías de comida, que no solo nos dañan a nosotros, sino también están dañando a sus clientes.
No, think about the restaurant industry, think about the food, people that work with food. You don't want them to be going to work in sick handling your food.
Por eso queremos nuestros días de enfermedad pagados ahora.
That's why we want our paid sick days now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela. Next, I want to introduce one of the lead sponsors of this ordinance and the lead sponsor of this entire effort. She's a member of the Progressive Caucus who's been leading on this issue for the last couple of years, Alderman Tony Folks.
Good morning. This is very personal to me. I've said over and over again that I've stood in the shoes of the people behind me. When we started this paid sick days, we were asked by the administration to the mayor formed a working families committee. We worked all summer, which I found that was very kind of convenient, right? And towards the end, we met for 4 days, every single day, right? For 4 days, 2 hours a day, which got a little more convenient, right? We jumped through every hoop that the administration asked us to do. And now we come to the end and we're still waiting. It's not fair to the working families of this city. It's like the working family are always the last ones that's looked after and the ones who do the most work in all the companies. It's time for us to have a vote on this. It's only right. When you don't have a sick day, you end up, number one, probably using, if you have a vacation day, you end up robbing Peter to pay Paul, because one day with no pay might mean you can't pay the rent, you can't pay the light bill, you can't pay the gas bill, you can't give your children lunch money. If you lose, even if you make $50 a day, it's got to come from somewhere else. And you can't afford that. I know that. Okay? Been there. Got the t-shirt. So I understand what the people behind me are going through, what the working families of Chicago is going through. Enough is enough. And it's time for us to move this forward, to vote on it, and give the people of Chicago paid sick days. Period. Thank you.
Alderman Moreno is not here yet, so I just wanted to see if Alderman Wagasback or Alderman Rosa wanted to speak on this, or Alderman Moore.
Thank you so much, Mayor Puar. My name is Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa of the 35th Ward, and Minnesota is about to pass paid sick leave this month. New York has had this law on the books for quite some time now. So how many months, how many years do Chicago workers have to wait for such a practical, simple solution that will give them fairness and justice in the workplace? So this is an extraordinary process that these groups have gone through. Alderman Puar, Alderman Moreno, Alderman Folks, ushering this through with community groups, the business community as well. Many key members of it are in support of this. This is a reasonable, practical way that we can implement paid sick leave in the city of Chicago, and workers need it now. Thank you.
So I want to close by saying that the time is now. We need to get a vote on this ordinance next month in June. We need to pass this in June. Working families cannot wait. We have nearly 500,000 people that have been waiting. This is just a basic standard of decency. This is not some enrichment of people's lives. This is just giving people who work day in and day out the same kind of benefit that folks with shirts and ties get, and they take it for granted. So all I'm asking for is a vote. We're asking for a vote, and we don't want any more delays. With that, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer any that you may have. Nope. Thank you.